The most dangerous mistake you will make when trying to fix your life is assuming that the answer is hidden in a book you haven't read yet. Most people stand at the foot of the mountain of philosophy, looking up at the summit, terrified to take the first step because they think they need to pack more gear. You buy the journals, you highlight the quotes, and you memorize the Latin phrases until you sound like a Roman senator. But I am going to tell you a harsh truth that might make you angry, but will save you 10 years of wasted time. You are not practicing Stoicism by reading about it. You are just procrastinating with better vocabulary. The journey does not begin in the library. It begins in the emergency room of your own soul, usually at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep because your life feels like it is falling apart. The reason you are here watching this is not because you have a scholarly interest in ancient Greece. It is because you are in pain. You are anxious about the future. You are haunted by the past, or you are suffocating under the weight of the present. You want a way out. The ancient Stoics knew this, which is why they didn't design their philosophy for comfortable people in ivory towers. They designed it for slaves, for soldiers, and for emperors fighting wars on the frozen frontier. So, where do you actually begin? You might think the first step is to buy a copy of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations and start reading from page 1. That is what everyone does, and that is why everyone fails. Reading Meditations without a foundation is like trying to fly a fighter jet because you played a video game once. You will crash. The true starting point is much closer, much simpler, and much more terrifying. It begins with a single, invisible line drawn in the sand of your mind. This line is the border between your kingdom and the wild. On one side of the line are the things you can control. On the other side are the things you cannot control. Epictetus, the slave-turned-teacher, called this the Dichotomy of Control, and it is the only weapon you are allowed to carry at the start of your journey. Most of us are miserable because we are fighting a war on foreign soil. We try to control what our boss thinks of us. We try to control the economy. We try to control whether our partner loves us. We try to control the traffic, the weather, and the past. We are exhausted generals commanding armies that do not obey us, fighting enemies we cannot touch. The first step of your Stoic journey is to call a retreat. You must pull all your soldiers back across the border into the territory that actually belongs to you. And what belongs to you? Only two things: your actions and your judgments. That is it. That is the entire kingdom. Everything else, your reputation, your bank account, your health, your family, belongs to fortune. They can be given, and they can be taken away. This sounds depressing to the modern ear. We are told we can manifest anything, that we are the masters of the universe. To be told that you control almost nothing feels like a defeat. But the Stoic realizes that this limitation is actually the ultimate liberation. If you only control your own mind, then nothing outside of your mind can ever truly hurt you. You can be fired, and it is just an event. You can be dumped, and it is just a circumstance. The pain doesn't come from the event. It comes from your judgment that the event is bad. This brings us to the second phase of the beginning, which is where the real work starts. Once you have drawn the line, you have to learn how to guard the gate. Your mind is a fortress. Every day, thousands of impressions try to storm the gates. An insult from a coworker, a terrifying news headline, a memory of a mistake you made 10 years ago. Most people leave the gates wide open. They let these impressions run into the throne room and start giving orders. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and the impression screams, "He disrespected you." Get angry, and because the gate is open, you obey. You rage, you ruin your morning. You have handed the keys to your happiness to a stranger in a sedan. The beginning of Stoicism is the practice of standing at the gate with a spear. Epictetus said we must say to every harsh impression, "Wait for a moment. Let me see who you are and what you represent. Let me put you to the test." This is the discipline of assent. It is the refusal to agree with your own initial thoughts. When your brain says, "This is a disaster," the Stoic at the gate says, "Is it? Or is it just a difficult situation that requires a solution?" When your brain says, "I can't handle this," the Stoic says, "Prove it. Have you handled things before? Yes, then you can handle this too." This internal dialogue is the practice. It isn't sexy. It doesn't look cool on Instagram. It happens in the silence of your own head, hundreds of times a day. It is the mental equivalent of learning to walk. You will stumble. You will forget to guard the gate. You will let an insult through and get angry. You will let a fear through and get anxious. And this leads to the third crucial component of the start, the art of the return. You will fail. You will lose your temper. You will doom scroll. You will seek validation. The fake Stoic, the one who just reads the books, thinks that failing means the philosophy doesn't work. He quits. He thinks, I'm just not a calm person. The real Stoic knows that the path is not a straight line. It is a spiral. When you fall off the path, the practice is not to beat yourself up. The practice is to get back on the path immediately. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, when you are jarred, inevitably, by circumstance, revert at once to yourself, and don't lose the rhythm more than you can help. He didn't say if you are jarred. He said when. Even the Emperor of Rome, the most powerful man on earth, lost his cool. The difference was that he minimized the refractory period. The beginner stays angry for a week. The intermediate stays angry for an hour. The master stays angry for a second. Your goal at the beginning is simply to shorten the time it takes you to remember who you are. Now, let's talk about the specific tools you need for day one. You don't need a library. You need 2 bookends for your day. The first bookend is the morning preparation. You cannot walk into the world defenseless. The world is chaotic, loud, and demanding. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, you have already lost. You have let the world dictate your state before you have even brushed your teeth. The Stoic starts the day by looking at the map. You ask, what am I likely to face today? I will face traffic. I will face a difficult boss. I might face bad news. You rehearse these scenarios. You visualize yourself handling them with grace. You put on your armor before you step onto the battlefield. This is not pessimism. Pessimism is expecting the worst and giving up. This is realism. This is expecting the worst so that you cannot be surprised by it. The second bookend is the evening review. Seneca said he never went to sleep without putting his day on trial. He would wait until the lights were out and his wife was asleep, and he would replay the entire film of his day. Where did I fail? Where was I resentful? Where was I cowardly? He didn't do this to shame himself. He did it to gather data. You cannot improve what you do not measure. If you don't review your day, you are doomed to repeat the same mistakes tomorrow. You will live the same mediocre day 30,000 times and call it a life. These 2 habits, the morning prep and the evening review, are the container for your philosophy. They hold the practice together, but there is a trap waiting for you. A trap that catches almost everyone who starts this journey. The trap is the desire for results. You want to feel better now. You want the anxiety to stop today. You treat Stoicism like a pill. You swallow a quote and wait for the pain to go away. But Stoicism is not a pill. It is a regimen. It is closer to weightlifting than it is to medicine. You don't go to the gym once and ask, why aren't I strong yet? You know that strength is a lagging indicator of your habits. Peace of mind is also a lagging indicator. It comes after weeks, months, and years of guarding the gate. You have to fall in love with the process, not the outcome. You have to learn to love the act of catching yourself getting angry, rather than just wanting to never be angry. Every time you catch yourself slipping, that is a rep, that is a win, that is the muscle growing. So, where do you begin? You begin right now, not tomorrow, not after you finish the book, not after you get the promotion. You begin with the very next impression that hits your mind. Maybe you are bored right now. Maybe you are annoyed that this video is long. Maybe you are worried about what you have to do next. Freeze that thought. Look at it. Ask yourself, is this up to me? If the answer is no, throw it away. If the answer is yes, take action. That is the entire philosophy. Everything else is just commentary. But there is one final secret about the beginning that nobody tells you. It is the reason why most people turn back. When you start to unplug from the matrix of anxiety and validation, you will feel something strange. You will feel lonely. You will look around at your friends, your family, and your coworkers, and you will see them running on hamster's wheels. You will see them screaming about politics, crying about celebrity gossip, and destroying themselves over things that don't matter. You will want to shake them. You will want to save them. You will want to preach to them about what you have learned. Do not do this. This is the Stoic arrogance phase. It is the phase where you use philosophy to feel superior to others. Look at these sheep, you think. I am a wolf. This is just your ego wearing a toga. It is a trap. The true Stoic does not preach. He leads by example. He doesn't tell people not to complain. He just doesn't complain. He doesn't tell people to be calm. He remains calm in the chaos. Be the color that contrasts with the gray. Be the silence in the noise. People will notice. They will ask you, why aren't you freaking out right now? Why aren't you worried? That is when you teach, not before. Your journey begins in silence. It begins in the quiet commitment to be the master of your own soul, regardless of what the world throws at you. It begins with the understanding that you have been asleep, and for the first time, you are trying to open your eyes. The light will hurt at first. The truth will be uncomfortable. You will realize how much of your life you have wasted worrying about things that never happened. You will mourn the years you lost to anxiety. You will regret the relationships you ruined with your temper. This grief is normal. It is the cost of waking up. But do not linger in the grief. The past is in the category of things you cannot control. It is dead. All you have is this moment, the present. The Stoics called it the now. It is the only place where you can be good. It is the only place where you can be free. So take a breath, draw the line in the sand. Pick up your spear, stand at the gate. Your life does not belong to your boss. It does not belong to your debt. It does not belong to your trauma. It belongs to you. But only if you are willing to fight for it every single second of every single day. There is no finish line. There is no graduation. There is only the practice. And the practice starts with the realization that your old life is gone. You have burned the bridge. There is no going back to the blissful ignorance of being a victim. You are responsible now. You know that your happiness is your job. You know that your character is your destiny. You are standing in the wreckage of your old habits, holding the first stone of your new foundation. It is heavy, it is rough, it is cold, but it is real. And if you place it carefully, and then place another one on top of it, and another, you will eventually build a fortress that no misfortune can destroy. But building a fortress takes time, and you are starting late. You have a lot of debris to clear before you can even lay the first brick. Do you know how to clear the wreckage of your past mistakes without being crushed by the weight of them? Like and subscribe to find the blueprint in the related video, How to Rebuild Your Life.